When Massachusetts twins Caleb Left and Emmy Wright Smith were born in 1998, it was hard to tell them apart. Today Emmy says, "When we were 12, I didn't feel like a boy, but I didn't know it was possible to be a girl." At 17, Emmy came out as transgender, and recently she underwent gender confirmation surgery. She plays down its significance. "I was no less of a woman before it, and I'm no more of one today." This story appears in a January 2017 issue of National Geographic magazine. She has always felt more boyish than girlish. From an early age, as she prefers to be called for this story, hated wearing dresses, liked basketball, skateboarding, video games. When we met in May in New York City at an end-of-the-year show for her high school speech team, was wearing a tailored Brooks Brothers suit and a bow tie from her vast collection. With super short red hair, a creamy complexion, and delicate features, the 14-year-old looked like a formally dressed, earthbound Peter Pan. Later that evening, searched for the right label for her gender identity. Transgender didn't quite fit, she told me. For one thing, she was still using her birth name and still preferred being referred to as she. And while other trans kids often talk about how they've always known they were born in the wrong body, she said, "I just think I need to make alterations in the body I have to make it feel like the body I need it to be," by which she meant a body that doesn't menstruate and has no breasts, with more defined facial contours and a ginger beard. Does that make ye a trans guy? A girl who is, as she put it, insanely androgynous? Or just someone who rejects the trappings of traditional gender roles altogether? You've probably heard a lot of stories like these recently. But that's the whole point. She's questioning her gender identity, rather than just accepting her hobbies and wardrobe choices as those of a tomboy, because we're talking so much about transgender issues these days. These conversations have led to better head counts of transgender Americans, with a doubling, in just a decade, of adults officially tallied as transgender in national surveys, an increase in the number of people who are gender non-conforming, a broad category that didn't even have a name a generation ago, a rise in the number of elementary school-age children questioning what gender they are, and a growing awareness of the extremely high risk for all of these people to be bullied, to be sexually assaulted, or to attempt suicide. Carlos, 12, holds a photo of himself as a girl. He is one of a small group of children born in the Dominican Republic with an enzyme deficiency. Their genitalia appear female at birth, then, with a surge of testosterone at puberty, they develop male genitals and mature into men. His uncle simply says Carlos found his own rhythm. Born with an intersex chromosomal condition, Emma, 17, had incomplete male and female anatomy. She was raised as a girl, always aware of her special situation. "I'm comfortable with my differences," she says. Shy and inventive, she spends hours among the clouds in her bedroom in Florida creating intricate adventures and videos using My Little Pony dolls. Jonathan, 8, has identified as both a boy and a girl at the same time since age 2.5. At California's Bay Area Rainbow Day Camp, where children can safely express their gender identities, Jonathan tries on life as a unicorn. The conversation continues, with evolving notions about what it means to be a woman or a man and the meanings of transgender, cisgender, gender nonconforming, genderqueer, agender, or any of the more than 50 terms Facebook offers users for their profiles. At the same time, scientists are uncovering new complexities in the biological understanding of sex. Many of us learned in high school biology that sex chromosomes determine a baby's sex, full stop. XX means it's a girl, XY means it's a boy. But on occasion, XX and XY don't tell the whole story. Today we know that the various elements of what we consider male and female don't always line up neatly, with all the XXs, complete with ovaries, vagina, estrogen, female gender identity, and feminine behavior, on one side, and all the XYs, testes, penis, testosterone, male gender identity, and masculine behavior, on the other. It's possible to be XX and mostly male in terms of anatomy, physiology, and psychology, just as it's possible to be XY and mostly female. Each embryo starts out with a pair of primitive organs, the protogonads, that develop into male or female gonads at about 6 to 8 weeks. Sex differentiation is usually set in motion by a gene on the Y chromosome, the SRY gene, that makes the protogonads turn into testes. The testes then secrete testosterone and other male hormones, collectively called androgens, and the fetus develops a prostate, scrotum, and penis. Without the SRY gene, the protogonads become ovaries that secrete estrogen, and the fetus develops female anatomy, uterus, vagina, and clitoris. But the SRY gene's function isn't always straightforward. The gene might be missing or dysfunctional, leading to an XY embryo that fails to develop male anatomy and is identified at birth as a girl. Or it might show up on the X chromosome, leading to an XX embryo that does develop male anatomy and is identified at birth as a boy. Genetic variations can occur that are unrelated to the SRY gene, such as complete androgen insensitivity syndrome, CAIS, in which an XY embryo's cells respond minimally, if at all, to the signals of male hormones. Even though the protogonads become testes and the fetus produces androgens, male genitals don't develop. The baby looks